So today's training is all about a classic mistake that I see people making on business development, and it doesn't matter whether you're 10 years experience, 2 years experience, 5 minutes experience. This is done as a classic basis, and here's a really good example, or includes really good examples of actually when this has worked, examples of when it hasn't worked, but you increase your law of averages if you just take this action. So business development is the topic of today, and what I'm going to talk around is that fighting for people's attention, and I just want to put things a little bit in perspective of the people that you're trying to get in touch with. So you're in essence trying to speak to chief executives on the portfolio side, if it's for CFO, COO hires. You're trying to speak to private equity investors on the private equity side, which are all managing partners, principals, investment directors. Their goals in their day, none of which centre around having a conversation with anybody in this room, including me, and they're not measured on the conversations they have with you. You're measured on the conversations you have with them, but they're not measured on the conversations they have with you. Their goals are to close deals, exit deals, and raise capital, in simplistic terms. Those are their big problems and their big issues, none of which centre around having a conversation with Mohammed Varley from Leeds or Dewsbury, Ollie from bloody Ilkley / Adel, Sean from a place called Cottonley, which no one's ever heard of, or Helena that comes from a place near Bradford. And Geordie, who lives in Leeds but came from London and probably lives in other places as well around London. So they're not interested, and their goal is not to talk to you. You have to bid for their attention. You have to fight for their attention because they are busy. I'm going to put this in perspective. I'm nowhere near as busy as any of those people, yet if you go through my phone, you will see there's a ton of voicemails that I've never listened to. Right? And if there's no voicemails in my phone, it's because I've just gone through them all and just deleted them all. Because I don't know who the number is, and it's probably somebody trying to sell me phone shit. Which is usually, "Hi Alex, I wanted to let you know, O2 have got an offer." I'm like, I don't give a crap. I spend £14 a month on my phone. If you knock another quid off, I'm not going to spend the next half an hour working out whether we can or can't. And I full well know that you can't because I'm on the lowest rate. So if that is the case for me, the people you are trying to speak to are in exactly the same boat. They've got investors to speak to or LPs. They've then got a call with their portfolio companies and looking at performance. They've got a disaster happening because a piece of equipment's gone down in their portfolio companies, or one of the guys has just fucked something up and there's a lawsuit happening, etc., etc., etc. Loads and loads and loads of chaos, loads and loads of problems. The last person they need is one of you guys ringing them up, trying to spec in a candidate to them to tell them you've got the best possible person in the world when they are struggling to raise capital, they're struggling to raise to find new deals, they're struggling with their current portfolio company performance, etc., etc. Plumbing's just got in their house, they've just bought a new car, just broke down on the way to work. All these problems that they've got magnitude by the fact that they're also running a private equity firm and trying to get on with what they're trying to do. Imagine if I started ringing you about a new phone every single once a week, right? I started ringing you about a phone and being like, "Oh, Mo, I've got a new phone, I've got a new phone, I've got a new phone, I don't need a phone." Okay? So what you've got to do when you're looking to speak to these people is to fight for their attention and fight for their level of communication. What most people do is leave a voicemail, expect somebody to phone them back. That's highly unlikely that that person's going to ring you on a cold basis. So, "Oh yeah, hi Halim, I've got your voicemail, it's perfect timing, I've not listened to it, I didn't have time, but I thought you'd be a really good person to speak to because you rang me on a Massachusetts number or a UK number or a New York number or whatever else." Okay? You've then got to follow that up with an email. "John, I reached out, working with a candidate, X, Y, and Z, this is why it's relevant to your business." Then they still don't bloody respond to you. So then you'll reach out to them next week, and then you'll reach out to them the week after, and then you'll continue to reach out to them until somebody decides that they're going to come back to you, and that you're the right person to speak to, and they need to have a conversation with you. But the problem is, you have another 1,000 recruiters all trying to reach out to them over the course of a year that are all banging on their attention. And they've already got 3 that they work with, and putting another 4th in the pond where they've got to go through absolutely everything with you to go through, "Oh yeah, here's all about our fund, here's how we operate, here's what we do, here's how we work, here's X, Y, and Z." Unlikely that they're going to go through all of that. Okay? So you've got to fight for their attention. You've got to fight for them to speak to you, have a conversation with you, and you've got to give them reasons. And the majority of the reason they're using at the moment is that I've got a candidate, he's X, Y, and Z, he's this, and this, he does that, and that. Okay? That is one of the ways that you can fight for someone's attention. And you've got to be consistent with that outreach. Just because they are not responding back to you doesn't mean they are not seeing it. Right? I've got a guy who I've spoken to twice who rings me once a month and tries to sell me tickets for sporting events. Now, I'm not the perfect person for him, but I'll tell you now, if I needed tickets for a sporting event, I'd fucking ring him. And I don't even know his name, but I know that he's down in my phone as ticket guy. Okay? So I know that when I need something, and the only reason I know that guy is because he calls me every month without fail. And he calls me, and he calls me, and he calls me. And I don't speak to him, and he shoots me an email afterwards saying, I've got this as an opportunity, do you want to go to the rugby, football, cricket, golf, whatever else? Okay, so he's been working me now for at least a year, and he's got nothing back from me other than I'm not interested, I don't want to go. But one day, I will be like, right, I need something, and then he turns me into a client. It's exactly what happened with the best client, or one of the best clients we've got in the business. 3 years of banging on that bloody door, and then eventually, the managing partner rings me, not the founder I've been chasing, the managing partner rings me up and goes, Martin's asked me to give you a call because you've been banging on his door. We've got X, Y, and Z problem. We can't fill this, we can't fill that. And we've got a turnover rate of, well, every 2 people we hire at C-suite level, we lose 1. I'm like, well, that's not very good. And they're like, well, no shit. So eventually, we then move into, we've got a client relationship, it took me 3 years to win it. And that business will give me 250 to 300,000 pretty much every year. But you've got to fight for the attention. You can't ring once and expect them to ring you back. You can't email once and expect them to email you back. Can't do one e-shot and go, well, nobody fucking came back to me, and not getting it. You have to be consistent with your outreach, work in your market so everybody knows who you are, what you do, and how you operate. And then eventually, you will get the result you're looking for. And that will win you the client. Nobody owes you anything. No client needs to ring you back. Nobody cares who you are. They've already got relationships that they've already got. It's a bit like law firms. There's tons of them, and there's tons of executive search firms that all claim to do with specialists and do X, Y, and Z. And you have to differentiate yourself through your outreach and your consistent messaging and your consistent, here's this profile, here's this bit of content, here's a video on salary benchmarking. Here's a bit of content on this. Oh, saw this. Saw you guys have raised a fund. Congratulations. Oh, saw you just completed a portfolio company acquisition. Congratulations, etc., etc., etc. And then eventually they'll go, okay, brilliant. Let's have a conversation. But it's got to be consistent because we're not going after, oh, I'll win an account for 5 or 10 grand, or I'll make one placement for 5k. That's small, and therefore that's a more easy decision to make rather than I'm looking to make a decision on 60, 70, 80, 100k decisions to work with you or not work with you, forgetting to where you want to be.